After years of waiting, the third FTX repayments are coming tonight, meaning $1.6 billion could be about to hit Bitcoin. And speaking of stablecoins, Tether just bought $1 billion of Bitcoin today. And most people ignore what happens in the stablecoin market, but when you zoom out, it's pretty clear that they have a massive impact on Bitcoin's price. And considering this is the last day of September and we are entering October tomorrow, you need to be paying attention. There seems to be some big buys happening behind the scenes. Okay. Let's jump into the news. Of course, I'm here with Sophie, the wonderful, the better half of Nico. And we have Asanoha, Bitcoin artist, founder of Bitcoin Art Magazine. So if you guys like Bitcoin art, we're going to be talking about that at the tail end of the show. Anyways, what am I talking about? And I know a lot of people are probably like, man, I thought the FTX saga was over. Well, it is not officially over yet. It seems to be happening, rather slowly. As we've seen, if you've been around in Bitcoin a while, the Mt. Gox scenario, saga, that's still basically ongoing. So these things take time. But what is interesting is that we are going to see a repayment tonight. And the real question that I have when I read this news, and we'll discuss this in a minute, is whether the people on FTX are going to completely leave the crypto markets, Bitcoin markets, or are they going to re-enter the market in bulk? And again, that's a lot of capital going on. If $1.6 billion does buy Bitcoin, if it does re-enter the market, it's about 14,000 coins plus, which is about 30 days of the Bitcoin supply. So it's not an insignificant amount of capital that can potentially re-enter Bitcoin. And again, that's not even really accounting for what Tether did this morning. They bought about 8,000 coins this morning. Again, $1 billion of Bitcoin. So it does seem like the markets are reversing course here. I know you guys saw finally bounced off that 108. We're in the 113, 114 area. And we have October, which is historically the best time to be in the Bitcoin market. So hopefully, a big if October becomes another kind of data point of the past, it should be a great month and an end of the year. Anyways, let's go into this article a little bit. So there has been a little speculation on how much capital is actually going to come into Bitcoin, or rather how much capital FTX is going to repay their customers. But the clear of it, the short of it is it's 1.6 billion, and they have a total of 16 billion to pay back. And we'll kind of go through the numbers of how much they actually paid back, but it is coming tonight. From the kind of sources that I saw, it's supposed to hit tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So not today, or rather not like right now as the show happened. It hasn't already happened, but it's going to happen later today. Anyways, this article is titled 1.6 billion in FTX creditor payout set for today. What to expect. The FTX Recovery Trust releases $1.6 billion in creditor payouts later today, not the rumored $5 billion. And this is the third round of FTX repayment under its Chapter 11 bankruptcy plan. And this is, again, where the conversation starts to happen. What does this mean for us? And as they kind of pointed out in this keynote right here, like the markets are bracing for volatility of this liquidity coming in. So the mechanics of this is they are going to pay back 1.6 billion in stable coins. So even if they sell these stable coins for dollars and completely leave the market, it's not necessarily going to be selling pressure of Bitcoin. But the real question is the people that are receiving this money going to essentially sell their stable coins and buy it back into Bitcoin? And that's obviously going to be very bullish for every single one of us. So the FTX Recovery Trust confirmed it will distribute 1.6 billion in stablecoins later tonight. And regardless of the actual amount, again, there's a lot of contention. People were saying 5 billion. The sources officially came out to 1.6 billion. Anything over $1 billion is huge. And if the stablecoin distribution were to go ahead, or if creditors enjoy similar liquidation behavior, it could have a big market effect. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens later today, or rather showing a little more of the details. It's not all going to hit today per se, later tonight. People are going to start getting their payments tonight. And then over the next 1 or 3 days, we're going to see the total repayment amount be distributed to their holders. So we're not really sure what's going to happen in the markets right now. Obviously, we're still very bullish on October. It's the last day of September, which is historically not the best returns in Bitcoin. So the next couple of days, we could be seeing some volatility. I think personally, we're going to see volatility to the upside, especially with this October meme happening. But there could be potentially a lot of buying coming from these people. Now, when you really break down the mechanics here, and I'll full screen myself a little bit, these repayments, they're not getting repaid the total amount of Bitcoin. Like, they're not getting their gains back, essentially. And this is one of the things we constantly tell you guys is you do not want to be leaving Bitcoin on exchanges for this very reason. And when this happened, obviously, a few years ago, it wreaked havoc on the markets. The markets were absolutely nuked for years. This is probably why we had such a long bear market from 2020 on, and arguably haven't really got out of it yet. But they are essentially, the cash repayments are going to be paid back at a $16,000 per coin valuation. Again, the people that lost their coins, their shit coins, their Bitcoin on FTX, they basically missed out on 100K gains. And this is why we always tell you, you need to take your Bitcoin off the exchanges, because this is something that happens in the Bitcoin market. And this is not something to just scare you away from the Bitcoin market. Yes, we are still technically like in the Wild West here, but if you secure your Bitcoin, then this would never happen. And this is what we always tell you guys. This is one of the huge risks of leaving your Bitcoin on exchanges. And with the FTX stuff, me and Sophie were talking about it earlier. She's like, wait, like, what was the question you asked? She's like, didn't they already sell all that Bitcoin during that time? I'm like, well, here's the kicker. So they didn't even have any of the Bitcoin at all. So if this capital does go into cash and then comes back into the market, I think that would be a huge, upward push of Bitcoin. But
I don't think these people are ever going to buy Bitcoin ever again.
It's true.
To be honest with you, like, not to be a bear in the conversation here, but if I was scammed by an exchange, and let's be real, the majority of people who are buying their Bitcoin and leaving it on exchanges don't really understand self-custody. They don't really understand the peaceful revolution that we're fighting here. They don't get it, right? So if they don't get it, they're not going to go turn around and be like, you know what? It's probably a good idea to buy some Bitcoin again.
Why
not?
That's the real question here. Actually, before I move on and we can kind of break down the numbers here, I want to ask Asanoha the same question. Do you think the creditors of FTX, the victims of FTX, do you think they're going to come back into Bitcoin, or do you think this is one of those scars that is just fundamentally going to push people away from what Bitcoin can accomplish?
I'm gonna go ahead and take the centric road on that, or opinion on that, and say that there's going to be a bunch that have now since been converted into Bitcoin maximalists.
Let's go.
Thanks to people, thanks to shows like Simply Bitcoin, and they are going to take that money and they are going to smash buy or start DCAing it into Bitcoin immediately. And then there's going to be a bunch of people who are total degens and are going to probably go and just throw it like darts in the dark at some terrible altcoins. And then there'll be a bunch of people like Sophie was saying that, I'll probably just think that the whole thing is a total scam and never come back at all. And that's, unfortunate for them. They didn't learn about Bitcoin through the process of losing a bunch of money to FTX.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I think a lot of people were probably saved in the sense that if they bought altcoins and they just went to zero, then, they're getting still the value of their investment. They didn't ride it all the way down to zero. But on the other hand, look at all these people who missed out on the upside. There is a possibility that they might say, if I would have had my money in Bitcoin, then, I would have made an amazing return. Maybe I should just try it again. But I don't know. I would be so disheartened. I would actually be so exhausted after the whole process of KYC verification, trying to, prove that you actually had funds on the exchange, getting your money back, feeling rugged, honestly, and robbed of your opportunity. These people some of them aren't even getting 100% of their investment, much less the actual opportunity costs that they lost out on. So it's just a bummer overall. I think it gives Bitcoin a bad name, honestly, because people just can't help but conflate the two and think that Bitcoin is the act of buying on an exchange and seeing number go up, and like they don't understand that it's so much bigger than that. It's so much more than the number go up. It's about the self custody. It's about the self sovereignty, and it's about being able to have the hardest money on earth. So, I really do hope that you're right and people learned from all of this, like, and even if that is just through number go up and FOMO and saying, hey, like it's about to be October, this is my last chance, even though, let's be real, banks are going to make it impossible to like actually like, are people actually going to receive their money like at 8 p.m.?
Well, it said over. All right, perfect segue. Actually, before we go on, I do want to hit a couple of points here. One is obviously, personally, from my perspective, if I had watched my coin disappear on FTX, and I watched it go from 16K to 116K, I would be on mental health watch. Level 5. I would be totally devastated. That would absolutely hurt a lot. But the saving grace and something we've all learned in Bitcoin, and this is why all three of us are Bitcoin maxis and everyone in the chat. It's like the easiest and fastest way, or rather, maybe not the easiest. The fastest way to becoming a Bitcoin maxi is by getting scammed by shit coins.
It's pain.
It's the pain.
Maximum pain.
Yeah, it's the pain that gets you here. And so hopefully, or rather, I would argue there's probably I don't know if it's a small percentage or a minority of those creditors are obviously becoming Bitcoiners, as Asanoha was saying. They took the time, they had to research it, they got the pain, and then watching the price go up again, they probably realized, like, yeah, I should have just held Bitcoin, and further, I should have taken that Bitcoin off the exchange, like all of the Bitcoin maxis have been yelling at me for. And then there was one more thing that Sophie said that really reminded me of a trend for a while, that what Sophie said about people kind of conflating Bitcoin and FTX, it reminds me of when this whole thing happened, that so many people would say something on the lines of like, oh, I heard the Bitcoin CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, scammed everyone. And you're like, no, like, it wasn't Bitcoin. It was an exchange. And I've been saying for a while that we've been essentially fighting that bad narrative for a while. And this is why I'm, very hopeful to see this finally come to an end. Obviously, there's still that Mt. Gox scenario that is still ongoing and seems to constantly be kicked down the road. But if this one finally gets resolved and everyone gets paid back, again, it's supposed to be 16 billion total. And I couldn't find the actual numbers of how much has been paid back, but I do have percentage numbers here to kind of explain to you how much capital is left coming back from FTX. So let me go into that for a little bit, and then we'll chat about it a little bit. So this, I was honestly, again, surprised that FTX still has an official Twitter account. They're still on Twitter, guys. So this is their announcement. Yikes. This was September 19th, when it first kind of was coming out that the repayments were going to be today. Again, it was a lot of rumors, but officially it is coming later today. So FTX today announced it's set to distribute approximately $1.6 billion in its third distribution to holders of allowed claims in the plan's convenience and non-convenience classes that had completed the pre-distribution requirements on September 30th, 2025. Eligible creditors should expect to receive funds from their selected distribution service provider within 1 to 3 business days from September 30th. So I would argue we're probably going to be seeing capital flow into Bitcoin by now and the end of the week. And then, of course, it also reminds people to, not fall for phishing, which is, I would argue, a bit ironic. Hey, look, all right, that's a totally different rabbit hole. But going to the official PR Newswire release of this, where it shows us kind of the amount of capital that has been distributed, and I'm down here in the kind of the first part, and it goes, in the third distribution, in accordance with the waterfall priorities set forth in the plan, the allowed class 5A.com customer entitlement claims will receive an incremental 6% distribution, which is 78% cumulative distribution to date. So they distribute 78% of the 5A.com customer entitlement claims. And then the class 5B US customer entitlement claims will receive a a 40% distribution, which is about 95% of the total distribution to date. And then the 6A or 6A general unsecured claims and 6B digital asset loan claims will receive a 24% distribution, which is 85% of the total distribution to date. And then the class 7 convenience claims will receive 120% of distribution. So that one seems completely filled out. So, somewhere between about, I don't know, 5 to 20% is still left to be distributed. So most of the capital that was lost in FTX has been distributed. I would argue that most of the significant capital numbers are already being distributed. So we could probably say that most of the capital that would have found its way into Bitcoin via the FTX holders are going to pretty much be completely finish coming next week. Obviously, there's still a little more capital that will be distributed that will, I think, arguably find its way into Bitcoin. And so the saga is not completely over, but it's almost over. It's pretty much completed here. And I think we saw, as we've been kind of arguing, or rather speculating on, a lot of that capital coming back in. Obviously, it's probably a minority of the people that got wrecked on FTX that are buying back into Bitcoin. But it is just very interesting, or rather kind of a sigh of relief here, that they actually, were able to claw back some capital. It wasn't a total loss. Of course, the historic Mt. Gox loss, that was like a totally different scenario. But here we are, guys. Finally, maybe we can put the FTX drama behind us and move on into the next chapter of Bitcoin. Obviously, this was one of the big things in 2020 that really kind of stopped the bull market and has been a stain on our industry for the last couple of years. Now it's coming to a close, so we will watch this and see if that capital does re-enter Bitcoin. If it re-enters in a significant amount, if all of that comes back in, that's a lot of coin that's going to be bought up. I was looking at the volume this morning on TradingView, and it looks about 1.9K of Bitcoin currently this morning was bought up. The kind of average the last couple of days is somewhere around like 3 or 4 1,000 coins being bought up and traded on the market. So again, if this total sum finds its way into Bitcoin, that's a little more than 14,000 coins, which is a non-significant amount of volume coming into Bitcoin. So that plus October, plus, all of the corporate treasuries buying Bitcoin, it seems like there's a lot of demand happening right now and on the horizon, setting up for October, or AKA Uptober, which is like we're all with bated breath. People are trolling me in the chat. Like if it doesn't pop off in October, like you guys should quit. But
it's over.
Hey, I'm going to feel the same way. I might have to sell my 32 sats because it's been a rough 10 months to say the least. Anyways, Asanoha, you want to add a little more to this, and then we can keep the show going.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope that anybody who's listening to this doesn't have any Bitcoin on any exchanges. I don't know how many times it's gonna take, but and unfortunately, it seems like it's probably gonna happen again more than once. So if you're listening to this, get your coins off of the exchange.
Yeah, that's 100%.
And I also want to add, if you're listening to this and you felt pain when you lost your buying opportunity, or whatever you lost on FTX, you are going to feel that same way if you don't buy Bitcoin again. And I think that right now, as hard as it is, because the ego is a really tricky thing, you gotta move past that and you gotta buy some Bitcoin. And this time, you have to take the time to learn about self-custody, and then you're gonna be okay. So if you are listening to this, and if you are considering maybe getting back into Bitcoin, forget about crypto, but getting back into Bitcoin, I think that you should, because the FOMO in October, and just, think about 5 years down the line, is going to be huge.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Look, I've never lost Bitcoin on an exchange. I've never been through an FTX kind of debacle or Mt. Gox. I wasn't in Bitcoin that early. But I have been scammed before. And to Sophie, what she was saying, I that's exactly what I did. Like back in the day, I fell for a phishing scam on Telegram, like my first 2 months in Bitcoin. I thought it was someone I knew. Later, like very quickly after I sent the coin, I realized I got scammed and I was devastated. It wasn't my whole stack. It was a big, significant portion of my stack at the time. And it really kind of just forced me to work harder and stack more Bitcoin. Like I don't think I would be here if I didn't get scammed. And I kind of look at it as my cost of tuition. We talk about that constantly on the show, that every one of us has to pay a cost of tuition somehow. Some of us pay a higher, higher price. But yeah, I wrecked myself very early in my Bitcoin journey. Again, it was like 2 months into when I found Bitcoin in 2018 or no, end of 2017. And, it was brutal. I was like, I remember that day specifically sitting like in my room and it was dark. I didn't even like turn the lights on. I was just like, I can't believe I did this. But that was the catalyst to make me, double down on my research and try to really understand what Bitcoin is and then work harder and save more money. And that really kind of started the first really toxic, real Bitcoin maxi domino to get me to where I am now. And to this day, looking back at the amount of coin I lost and the gains that I missed out, I literally just memory hold it and black hole it. Like when I think about it, the price always goes up of the amount in dollars that I've lost. The Bitcoin stays the same, but the amount in fiat value that I would have today, it keeps going up significantly. And if I think about it too much, it really is a drain on the psyche. So I just don't think about it. You guys know me. I have like a goldfish memory here. I just keep it moving. But yeah, guys,
but
just trust the process.
Imagine if you didn't buy Bitcoin. I know that it must have been so hard to just keep believing, but you are going to thank yourself so much for doing so and just pushing through and just buying. You probably don't even have to buy that much. Just buy a little bit and dip your toes in the water again. And again, figure out the self-custody. I cannot stress the importance enough. If you didn't learn about self-custody the first time around buying Bitcoin, it is essential that you learn about self-custody and perhaps multi-sig so that this never happens to you again.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's easier than ever today. You can literally Google what is Bitcoin self-custody, and you will have multiple videos and articles that you can read and learn how to do it. So there's no excuse anymore. 5, 6, 7, years ago, there was a lot less resources than there is today. And so there was more of an excuse, but now get your keys off the exchange, how to self-custody. You can write it into Google and it'll tell you exactly how to do it. So.
Or you can chat GPT it.
Chat GPT
even easier now.
Guys, wait, I was just saying, guys, just buy yourself a hardware wallet. We just got the new BitKey sponsor. Just buy yourself a hardware wallet. Do a test transaction from your exchange. Back up your seed phrase and wipe the seed phrase, come back on. This is it's very simple. It's more scary than it is complicated.
It's so easy. Even someone who has 42 IQ
yeah, exactly. If I can do it, guys, you can do it. It's very simple. But I do want to add to, and I don't mean to make light of it, guys, but I really do believe that it's never been easier to secure your Bitcoin. And like Asanoha was saying, I think the content around Bitcoin only and self-custody, and of course it's expanded from that, but it's very easy, or rather you could very quickly become a hardcore Bitcoiner today versus when I got in Bitcoin 2017 or even in 2020 if you got in an FTX. So like Asanoha was saying, I think it was, I don't know if I want to say acceptable, but it was a little more understandable in those days for you to kind of just leave your Bitcoin on exchanges, even though there's been a lot of history of this being a problem. There wasn't as much of an education effort around Bitcoin only content to kind of forgive your fault if you did get caught up in this. But now, 5 years has gone by, or actually it was 2021. So 4 years have gone by, or was it 2022? Why am I blanking? Let me fact check this. FTX explosion. I think it was, I keep saying 2020, but I think it was 20. Okay, it was 2022, November 2022. So 3 years have passed by, guys. I'm sure if you have been watching what has been going on with your FTX money and their bankruptcy, that's given you 3 years to kind of learn about Bitcoin. And the smart ones were probably stacking Bitcoin that whole time. So I think now, in hindsight, as Asanoha was saying, it's never been easier to secure your Bitcoin. This is like one of the things we always say on this show. So if you've been here, you guys know we badger you almost every single day about taking your Bitcoin into custody, not leaving it on the exchanges. This is literally why we say this, is because there's been so many examples of this happening where people get lazy and they leave their coin on exchanges and they get wrecked. Like, buying Bitcoin is like half of step one. The second step is taking that Bitcoin into your own custody, securing your own keys. This is how you can ensure that you never get caught up in a situation like this again. So, to those people that maybe watch FTX and we're in FTX and are maybe just watching us for the first time, trust us, guys. We are not taking this lightly. Yes, we're being a little flippant here when we're talking about this, but just trust the journey. And if you're here and you're just realizing, oh, maybe I'm getting a repayment tonight, make sure you get back into the market, but make sure you take Bitcoin into custody. On the other flip side, like if you're buying shitcoins, like, you're going to get rugged anyways. So you might as well just leave them on the exchanges. But if you're buying Bitcoin, make sure you take that into custody. At the very least, a mobile wallet, but preferably a hardware wallet. This is the best way to secure your Bitcoin for the long term, guys. This is one of our kind of company missions, is to make sure that you guys out there are secure moving forward. And we want every single one of you guys that watch our show to be as successful and wealthy as possible. And we think the best way to do this is by taking your Bitcoin into custody, holding it long term, not trading that Bitcoin, just stacking religiously, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever works with your kind of bills and your income. This is the way to I would say, simply succeed in the next 5 to 10 years, is just stacking Bitcoin and securing that Bitcoin, guys. This is the way. We constantly harp on that idea. It's not that difficult. It is more scary than it is difficult. So, if you were in FTX, more power to you. I hope you're stacking some Bitcoin today, and I hope you get your repayments back and you smash buy that money into Bitcoin, whether it's today or Thursday or Friday. Make sure you're getting that Bitcoin exposure, because if the memes are right, October is upon us and we should be seeing some gains here, guys. So
tell your grandkids about how you survived the FTX rug pull and then smash bought some more Bitcoin before the October of 2025. How legendary would that be? Makes a great story. Should totally do it.
Can we get a little?
Yes, do not let the obstacles stop you from stacking Bitcoin. Just stack harder. Make sure you are getting more money, and you just continue the process, guys. It's very simple. It's not easy, but it is a simple process to follow. We've all done it. We all continue to do it. This is the best way. It's the easiest way. Simplest way. Again, hodling isn't as easy as everyone makes it out to be. As you guys can tell, I've been losing my mind on the show because I want to see number go up. I'm waiting for October just like everyone else. I was scammed. I was told that it was going to be a magical 2025, and we've only been up, what is it, like 20% this year? Dude, what a rug pull. What a rug pull, guys. Now, October is upon us, guys. Q4 is here.
You know what? This is the reverse Opti effect.
Yes.
In effect.
Exactly. So we're going up. We're going up. All right, guys. Before I continue, I do want to remind you guys to smash the like button. Of course, comment on the show. Tell us what you think about the show. Tell us what we can improve. Be nice though. If you're mean to me, I'm going to ignore you. I have a fragile ego. And of course, subscribe to the show. If you love Sophie's takes, subscribe to our channel. And she's dropping her own show on Simply Bitcoin called, is it Simply Satoshi or just Satoshi?
I think it's Satoshi. At this point.
It's just Satoshi.
Satoshi as in SHE, as in I am.
She's a female. Yes. very I don't think they got that
so
one.
Dumb,
I don't
bro.
think they
Why
got
do
that.
people watch this show?
I don't think they got that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Also, I do want to remind you guys, of course, we were talking about FTX blowing up, but this is why we partnered with Bitcoin Well, because they will never lose your Bitcoin. They have never lost Bitcoin. And if you buy from Bitcoin Well, there is no possibility of them ever losing your Bitcoin because they never hold your Bitcoin. Once your dollars go through, once your local currency goes through, they send the Bitcoin directly to your cold storage. This is the best way to buy Bitcoin because, again, they can never rug pull your Bitcoin. You're never going to lose your Bitcoin that you bought on Bitcoin Well because of an exchange going down, because they pay out directly to your cold storage. Again, this is why we have partnered with them, because we've seen this happen so many times in the history of Bitcoin that we were like, okay, what's the best way to make sure that our friends and family and the people that watch us every single day will not get rug pulled and not wreck themselves? Just making sure that the exchange never holds your Bitcoin. And of course, if you are sitting on the sidelines, if you got repaid back by FTX and you're trying to buy $50,000 or more at a time, make sure you get in touch with the Bitcoin Well Infinite team. They will give you a white glove service. So they will walk you through the cold storage. If you have concerns, they will literally tell you how to do it, why you should do it, all that good stuff. We are trying to make sure that everyone that has ever bought Bitcoin receives that Bitcoin, and Bitcoin Well has totally done that up to this day and for the forever future here. All right, guys, let's get into the rest of the show. I got a clip from Lyn Alden. She was just on Natalie Burnell. And as you guys know, I've been watching the gold price very closely. It literally hit another all-time high this morning. It did correct a little bit, but it got all the way up to $3,800 per ounce. And this is her take on what she thinks is going to happen with gold and Bitcoin. And then in the news, an interesting story. You know me, very famously, the world's lowest IQ holder here at Simply Bitcoin with 42 IQ
And
is
in
all
the
in on
world.
Bitcoin. Well, we have the world's highest recorded IQ holder going all in on Bitcoin and making some very interesting predictions of where he thinks Bitcoin's going to go. And again, to wrap up the show in the culture with Asanoha, we're going to be talking about his new venture, the Bitcoin Art magazine, guys. If you like Bitcoin artists, you're going to love this. Anyways, let's get into the rest of the show.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Stampseed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? Stampseed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates. Instead of just writing them down on paper, paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on Stampseed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store.
And by popular demand, guys, Stampseed did just launch the 12. Wait, it's not working. The 12-word seed plate. So don't yell at me anymore. They are live, guys. So for everyone saying they wanted the 12-word seed plate, go to the website, scan the QR code, and you can get yourself one. And of course, the same kit works for both of those. Anyways, we're over here on Clark Moody's dashboard. The current Bitcoin price. Actually, let's refresh this. Yeah, the current Bitcoin price is $113,180, which is a decline from all-time high of -9%, guys. So, hey, it seems to be a little life back into the price. It did correct a little bit today, but it can't go straight up and to the right forever. There's going to be some corrections here. Anyways, the market cap in dollar terms is $2.26 trillion. And the only time that literally matters in the world is the block height. And we're currently at 917,098. I repeat, 917,098. That is the only time that matters, dude. We're time chain maxis, not Gregorian calendars maxis. We love the time chain. Anyways, a good clip that just dropped on Natalie Brunell. She does, incredible work over there on her podcast, Coin Stories. And as you guys know, I've been watching the gold price a lot. We're seeing some very interesting stuff happen in the gold markets, and I think it's telling us a lot of what's going on in the macro markets, which is why I've been watching it. Of course, gold is, our uncle here. It's Unk. Gold is Unk here to Bitcoin, the original hard money, hard currency in the world, and it is flying. And there's a lot of speculations of what that reason is. People are saying, it's, China and Russia, they are weaponizing gold. They're dropping treasuries. A more probably less cynical take is a lot of people are looking at what's happening in the treasury markets, and they're realizing it is not a good store of value. The store of value thesis that it used to be, it's no longer holding true. People do not want government debt. They do not want treasuries right now, and they're looking for alternatives. And of course, there is a correlation between what happens to the gold price and what happens to Bitcoin. And I think Lyn Alden breaks this down real well. Kind of explaining what we might be seeing on the horizon. There's been a lot of conversations whether the 4-year cycle theory is over. Are we going to be pumping into Q2 of 2026, or is it going to be longer? Well, here's Lyn Alden's take on this.
People, even though I know we're up 100% since last year, by the way, but people are feeling kind of bearish about the whole situation.
I think it's because it's reality versus expectations. Part of why I've not been that disappointed is because I've been more in I sometimes describe myself as like a bearish bull.
Yeah.
On Bitcoin, I try to always have conservative bullish targets,
Sure.
Which is it's like I'm always like I think it's going to outperform things, but I don't think it's going to the moon anytime soon. And we can talk about why that is, but part of the reason I like to hold both is because they don't always perform well at the same time. Sometimes Bitcoin gets ahead of itself, sometimes gold gets ahead of itself.
Right now it's gold.
Yeah, gold's the larger asset by a factor of about 10. A lot of the biggest pools of capital still understand it better than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's viewed more as like a tech play, something that is to do homework on to figure out. Whereas gold is, been around for a while. I sometimes I get a little concerned around Bitcoin getting ahead of its skis. Other times I get a little concerned around gold getting ahead of its skis. Right now, gold, just by more metrics, is kind of sentiment overbought. Even though I still think the long-term case for it is good. But over the next 6-12 months, I'd put my vote for Bitcoin. I think that kind of that rotation, and I could be wrong in this. Maybe we look back 6-12 months from now and maybe gold still outperformed again. But my guess would be Bitcoin is probably going to take over.
Love it. All right. You guys, actually, someone in the chat said earlier, it's like when Opti hosts a show, I get chock full of hopium. I'm all for this type of hopium, dude. If gold is ripping, then Bitcoin is obviously going to rip. We've seen historically there's been a kind of a lag between the Bitcoin price and the gold price, but gold's hitting all-time high. And I literally just checked this after as this was going, and it actually blew through $3,800 per ounce here, which is just absolutely insane. It's almost at $3,900 per ounce. It's at $3,847 per ounce right now. When I checked this morning, it corrected a little bit. Like, this chart is just, it's telling us a lot about what's going on in the plumbings of the traditional financial system, or rather maybe the investor psychology right now that is like prevailing the market. Is people do not want to hold treasuries. They're looking at gold. They want something something certain in such uncertain times. And so I think that's what we're seeing. And to Lyn Alden's point here, I also do believe that we are going to see Bitcoin follow gold very strongly. And if we can kind of lay on our historical laurels here in Bitcoin price appreciation, then Bitcoin run way harder than gold. And if that's what I think it means that like up to Q4 of this year, October, November, Bitcoin could potentially go just absolutely parabolic. And that would be, I would be all for that. Now, there is one thing, and I'm not as smart as Lyn Alden. Lyn Alden, I would argue, has a better grasp of what this all means and kind of the implications of where we are. I would argue I'm a low IQ version of Lyn Alden. You guys know I've just delved into macro. I learned from Lyn Alden and others, of course. But she did say that she wouldn't be surprised if gold never corrects. And I was just being reminded of the gold priced in Weimar marks. And while everyone thinks that, this price is way too high, it's got to correct soon. If this is telling us what a lot of Bitcoiners and fiat doomers are thinking it's telling us, then we have entered essentially the beginnings of a hyperinflationary scenario. And that essentially means like gold may just keep running higher and higher and higher than anyone can imagine. And if that's happening, then that is, I would say, fundamentally and very concretely telling us that the fiat debasement around the world is getting to a level where no one wants to hold fiat currencies. So it's going to be very interesting to watch gold. Again, I watch gold price as more of an indicator. I'm not a gold bug. My stepdad is actually a gold bug. He loves gold. And anytime I talk about Bitcoin pumping, he's like, oh, my gold's pumping too. So I haven't talked to him about gold recently, but I'm sure he's euphoric right now. That 30 plus year bag holding he's been doing, he's finally vindicated. So shouts out to the dads out there that are holding gold. Finally vindicated. I think we're kind of in a similar path as Bitcoiners. We will be vindicated very soon here. As we're seeing, hard currencies are becoming kind of the new flavor of the month, or maybe I would argue the new flavor of the decade. As we go into these uncertain times, people are going to start to gravitate towards hard currencies. And we think Bitcoin is just superior to gold. As the meme of Bitcoin being digital gold has been prevailing throughout all of the kind of narratives right now, I just fundamentally think Bitcoin is better gold. Like Bitcoin is better money, period. I say it, and sometimes I get some flack here, but if gold was as good as people say it was, then we wouldn't have fiat money in the first place. And I always flip it. I just think fundamentally gold failed as money in the modern world. And this is where Bitcoin is going to shine and be way superior to what gold was. And of course, what fiat money is. Bitcoin, I hate using these terms, but Bitcoin is the best of both worlds, of gold and fiat. Bitcoin can move. The velocity of Bitcoin can move at literally, well, it's not literally, but I was going to say light speed. It moves very, very quickly around the globe like fiat money does. And it's got the, oh, sorry, there's a dog here. It's got the store of value qualities that gold has. And this is why I think the digital gold meme has been so strong recently, is because people need kind of something that they can understand to really wrap their head around what Bitcoin is. But I think Bitcoin is much more than just digital gold. Now, as someone that loves gold, aka Asanoha, what is your thoughts on this?
I think it's all fantastic. I think that gold is still got. I still think gold. This is. People are probably going to yell in the comments, but I think gold's really awesome. I don't hold any gold at all myself, actually, which might be a surprise. But I do think gold's really awesome, and I have some friends who are pretty heavy in gold. And I am of a prepper mentality, and I mean, it can't hurt to have some gold, and so. I do think that Bitcoin is a superior monetary asset, and you're going to get a lot more gains out of Bitcoin. But what you were saying about the potential beginnings of hyperinflation, which I feel like we already have been experiencing that for quite some time now, but the potential of not seeing a price correction on gold and it just kind of going up slowly forever from here, maybe faster, is very likely and probably will happen, if not in the next year or two, in the next 5 to 10 years. And, I think that we are going to see that all over the world happening here soon. And, or there's going to be some catastrophic national disaster, and they're going to, do bait and switch CBDC tether dollar bait and switch. So we'll see what happens, but.
Well, this is kind of a hedge against that, right? Like, I think a lot of people are seeing the writing on the wall. They're seeing where the world is heading with, the digital ID situation, with the political instability and such. So people are going to invest in what they know. I think that the fact that gold is going up, like Opti said, is definitely a signal that something is happening. There is some sort of shift in the collective consciousness.
Shift.
Yeah, shift. There's a shift happening in your brain, and that's why you're buying gold. Anyway, that is why you're buying gold, because you stopped believing in the institutions. There is like zero trust in the banking system, in treasuries, in politics, in the politicians, and in everybody that has told you, to believe this whole time. And people are prepping. People are getting ready. They're trying to brace themselves for what is to come. And that is a huge signal for what will come inevitably with Bitcoin. I cannot wait for these people who are holding Bitcoin, which, by the way, the majority of them are not holding actual gold. They're holding paper gold, right? I cannot wait for these people to have to transport their gold and figure out where to put it and figure out how to, deal with it and move it. And when they realize that they could have just bought Bitcoin, and they kind of make that mentality shift, it's going to be a huge game changer. Can we say when that's going to happen? No, but typically, when gold goes up, that's a pretty good indicator that Bitcoin is going to follow. I don't think that these assets need to be in competition. A lot of people say that Bitcoin is digital gold. I would like to, I obviously think that it's in a class entirely of its own. However, I think that watching the price of gold go up is definitely signaling that there is going to be, if not a need right now, a future need for Bitcoin.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. Though I do want to kind of go back to what Asanoha was saying. Look, we all want to see gold be demonetized and, lose a lot of its storing value. Me personally, I am the meme. I got my gold chain. I know everyone's saying melt your gold chains and buy Bitcoin.
I'm just a girl. Like, I like jewelry.
Hey, look, I want gold to be demonetized so I can have a gaudy house with everything, gold leafed. And I'm sure Asanoha, Trump aesthetics for sure. Monarch aesthetics in my house. And I'm sure Asanoha wants it so the gold leaf paintings can be that much cheaper. So we're all rooting for gold to be demonetized here. We want to use it a lot more. And of course, in all the electronic components and all that stuff. But seriously, what we're seeing right now is probably the opposite of that. I think Sophie really hit the nail on the head here. What people are doing is they're going into something very comfortable. And historically, when you look at gold, it is the hedge against, economic calamity. And I think that's what's going on in the price. And if you aren't so much of a kind of fiat doomer or maybe more of a Bitcoin prepper kind of guy, then you're probably just looking at the gold price and chasing gains. You're looking at it like, oh, look, gold is increasing in value. But when you look at it from more of a Bitcoin perspective, a Bitcoin Austrian economics perspective, you're looking at gold and it's really telling you like, oh my God, like fiat currencies are debasing in real time. Currencies are failing against gold like it hasn't happened in a very long time. And that should be a little more terrifying than just chasing profits here. That's what I see when I see the gold price continue to go up as it is. So I'm sure it's going to take a couple of second order effect thinking for people to realize what is going on. They're not actually gaining dollars in this. They're actually losing purchasing power in their dollars. So it's just a slight flip of your perspective here, but that is what the gold price is telling me. So I don't think we're going to get to a point where gold's going to get demonetized anytime soon, Asanoha. So it looks like our gold chains and our artwork's just going to continue to get more expensive. So rip to us, brother.
Slay.
Okay, guys.
I just want to add to that I don't
slay.
I just want to add to that I think that gold going up in price is a good thing. It's a good thing for Bitcoin. You kind of said that in the beginning, and that this is positive. You know, I don't think gold getting demonetized in any near future is a good thing for Bitcoin. Maybe on a long enough timeline. I also don't recommend that you buy gold. I would recommend, this is not financial advice, but I would recommend that you only buy and hold Bitcoin. But gold going up in value is a good thing for Bitcoin. So, you know, it's one of the fastest, you know, it's sound money. So if money's moving into sound money, money's going to move into Bitcoin.
Yeah. And I think that's also one of the things that gets lost on a lot of people is that idea of like, as much as I troll gold and gold bugs on the show all the time, it's just because I'm a Bitcoiner and I'm an extremist. You know, well, not that kind. I like to troll. Okay. What gold is showing us is exactly what Asanoha was saying. Like, it is proving the hard money thesis and that more people are looking for a hard money alternative in a very soft, easy money world. And so this is good for the Bitcoin narrative at large. It's kind of like the same idea that a lot of people say for stable coins, which I'm personally not the biggest fan of the narrative, but that it's kind of a baby step to Bitcoin. And I think we could almost say the same thing about gold, but for the older generations. If you're familiar or comfortable with gold, it's just a newer technology that you will also love because Bitcoin has very similar properties, if not better properties than gold. So I absolutely love that take, Asanoha. That's a great kind of narrative to kind of differentiate from what's going on. So that was great. Anyways, guys, we're going to have a little fun on the news today. As I was telling you, the world record IQ holder from Korea, he's going all in on Bitcoin, guys. So not only do we have some of the very low IQ left side of the bell curve Bitcoiners, now we literally have the farthest right IQ on the bell curve, confirming everything we say. Again, you guys know I love confirming my biases here.
You can use this to tell all your friends that, you know, you've been a genius this whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, you know, hey, there's Opti and there's a genius here in Bitcoin. We got enough space for everyone. All right.
And whether you are a genius or have low IQ, we want you to smash that like button, share this video with your friends. And yeah, let's move on.
All righty then. We'll be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Lyn Alden, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledon.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones, they don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store.
Guys, we are super excited to announce this. We announced it yesterday, but if you are looking for a hardware wallet, make sure you go to bitkey.world. It is a Bitcoin wallet made for every Bitcoiner, secure, simple, and mobile first. And I think one of the things that I really love about this is I'm going to go buy a whole bunch of these for my friends and my family. This is going to be the one I'm giving them because I know they're not that technical, and it's just got a bunch of very awesome features in it. Like you can never lose your seed phrase, multi-sig basically by default. This is the Bitcoin wallet for your family, for, you know, your mom and your brother, something that isn't too technical, guys. So make sure you go to bitkey.world or scan the QR code right here and you can get 20% off if you use the promo code SIMPLY. All right, guys, this one's going to be a fun kind of conversation here. So this hit Yahoo Finance. It's starting to make the waves. Everyone on Twitter was having a real fun time with this. I was actually trolling. I'll pull up my tweet in a minute. But they headline here as the smartest man alive converts all his assets into Bitcoin. And they mentioned some of his tweets. And we'll start with the first one where he says, and of course, from Bitcoiners' perspective, it's like, yeah, we get it. You know, like, I really don't care what the smartest man alive does. I'm a Bitcoiner, you know, slay your heroes and all that good stuff. But I was actually mulling this over this morning. Like, I thought maybe this could be a good headline show, because I feel like this is going to resonate with just the average person out there where, you know, for a long time, we've been called, you know, criminals and what they used to call us, like,
Degens.
Not only degens, but they said illiterate Bitcoiners, illiterate financial Bitcoiners, or something of that nature. And we've leaned into this meme. We've leaned into the idea of, you know, yeah, we are left-sided the bell Bitcoiners. You know, I just say the memes, you know, like Grug, just caveman, like, yeah, like I just buy Bitcoin. That's it. I buy Bitcoin. I take it into custody. This one's interesting. Literally the highest IQ holder. And I can't not point out that every tweet he starts with is as the world's highest IQ holder. I would do the same thing.
It's so socially awkward too. Like it's just
awesome.
It's confirmation that he really is,
dude,
high IQ.
Just meme it. Just meme it into reality. Anyways, the first tweet is, as the world's highest IQ record holder and grandmaster of memory today. Oh wait, this is the wrong one.
Grandmaster of memory.
Hold on, that was the wrong one.
Sending me.
I picked the wrong one. Hold on, here we go. As the world's highest IQ record holder and grandmaster of memory, I believe that Bitcoin is the only hope for the future economy. Therefore, I have converted all my assets into Bitcoin. But everything I possess belongs only to the Lord Jesus and will be used for his glory. Absolute Chad tweet here. But this part, you know, Bitcoin is the only hope for the future economy. And there has been some contention I've seen on Twitter whether he's... Oh, I'm on the wrong one.
Yeah, you're not.
Sorry, guys. Lagging here, dude. It feels like a Monday to me here. So here you guys can see
it's basically Monday.
Yeah,
it's Tuesday.
Exactly. There is some contention on whether he is the world's highest IQ record holder. I saw that it has been independently verified by multiple things. But I think the strength of this kind of idea, like the smartest man in the world is also a Bitcoiner. So we, as Sophie was saying, we can very clearly say, like, yeah, probably the dumbest people and the smartest people are in Bitcoin. If I'm in Bitcoin, I'm on the dumbest side of Bitcoin, but we have the smartest person in the world also on Bitcoin. And if I can find the Cauchy tweet that they did, here, let me find that. It was so funny. They did a great tweet here where they did breaking news, you know, smartest man in the world is a Bitcoiner. And then someone responded with, I wonder what the lowest IQ record holder in the world is doing. And they're like, they're also in Bitcoin, which is just, yeah, here we go. I found it. Okay. Look at this. This is great. This is great content right here. So Justin, world's highest IQ record holder, has converted all his assets into Bitcoin. And someone goes, I wonder what the lowest IQ record has just done. And he goes, he is also in Bitcoin. So look, here's me here, left side of the bell curve, 42 IQ, literally off the bell curve. And then we have, I'm going to butcher your name, bro. Young Hoon Kim, smartest guy, highest IQ, also in Bitcoin. But it's not just that he converted all of his assets into Bitcoin, and that he thinks this is the only hope for the future of the economy, which I would totally agree with. Again, you know, left side and the right side of IQ, you know, shake hands. We're in alignment on this. This tweet is where I feed you with the hopium, guys. So it's not just Opti that tells you this. It's not just Luke that tells you this. Again, world's highest record IQ holder and I'm saying that multiple times because he does that in every tweet. He tweeted, and this was a couple of days ago, and he goes, future economy. According to my theoretical analysis, within the next 10 years, Bitcoin will increase at least 100 times and be universally adopted as the ultimate reserve asset. 100x. No, 100 times. Yeah, 100x here. What's that?
Oh, God.
Is that a mil? No. 10 mil? I think that's 10 million. Can someone fact check me in the chat? 100x from here, 100 times from here. I think
yeah, that should be 10 million.
That's 10 million. Dude, smartest guy in the world is saying $10 million Bitcoin. Guys, we made it. We made it. So not only is it the future hope of economy, but he is giving us arguably more bullish price predictions than I do here. In 10 years, $10 million per coin. I don't know, man. Let's meme this one into reality here. So, Sophie, what's your thoughts on this? I'm going to pull up my tweet here because I was trolling a little bit here. So,
where is your tweet?
Yeah, mine. We
need to see the other side of the bell curve. This is commenting on this.
Here we go. Other side of the bell curve.
You need to show it.
Sorry. Here we go. Here's my tweet. Literally just copy pasted. As the world's lowest IQ record holder and grandmaster of ship hosting, I also believe that Bitcoin is the only hope for the future economy, and therefore have converted all my assets into Bitcoin as well. Dude, it's just living the meme, guys. We got the smartest people and the dumbest people in Bitcoin, and
because the reality is you don't have to be smart. It's not about being smart or dumb. It's about having conviction and believing with your own eyes that what you've been told is a total lie and that what you're experiencing is absolutely real. It's believing in reality that makes people believe in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the truest form of money.
Sorry. I'm laughing at Elaine's tweet here or comment. Keep going. Sorry.
Wait. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I did read that. Shout out to Elaine. I think that if you just believe your own eyes and ears and believe the lived experience that you've had as a human being on this planet, and if you see the fact that they've printed money, that housing prices are going up, that you are worse off in this generation than in the previous generation, then you understand that Bitcoin is for you. And that doesn't really have to do with IQ, although I guess thanks for validating our feelings and our reality, because, a lot of our friends gave us a lot of grief for buying Bitcoin. They thought we were pirates. They thought we were stupid. They thought we were buying magic internet money.
It was all true.
It was all true. And I think that we're the ones that are going to come up on top. Like, hey, I'd rather be a pirate and I'd rather be buying magic internet money than money that the government prints for free. So thanks for the validation, what's his name?
Young Hoon Kim, I think.
Young Hoon Kim. We love you. Slay.
Yeah, bars. This guy's spitting bars over here. Love to see it. Anyways, Asanoha, what's your thoughts on this? Do you think this will have any impact, or is this just us kind of confirming our own bias and making us feel good about ourselves?
And if
I don't know. I mean, hopefully it runs super hard and hits TikTok and Instagram. I don't know if it has or anything. This is the first I saw it was just before I got on here with you guys. So I think it's very exciting. I think that it's always exciting when someone who is of some prestigious or, estimable position in the world, or, in that people perceive them as something fancy, says that Bitcoin is going up 100x. Hell yeah, Omega Candle. We're here for it. October.
Yes.
Yeah, that's I think the first part of him just saying, hey, as the smartest guy on planet Earth right now, I converted all my assets into Bitcoin. You're like, okay, that's cool. Like, that's like, I love to see that. But then when you see him double down and be like, yeah, we're going to 10 million per coin in 10 years, you're like, okay, all right, man. Now, keep feeding me the hopium here, because those are the type of predictions I like to hear. Now, even if we don't get close to that, I think we can all kind of agree that 10 years from now, 7 figures is definitely going to be the range that we are in with Bitcoin. So, hey, Hal Finney said it literally like 3 days after Bitcoin was created, 10 million per coin. 16 years later, we have the smartest man in the world confirming 10 million per coin. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He did say through my theoretical analysis here. So, hey, it may have taken 15, 16 years for him to convert all his assets into Bitcoin, but he's doing the work now. And
through my theoretical analysis of being a human being on this planet and not being able to afford things, I have concluded that Bitcoin, good. Bitcoin equals number, go up.
Yeah, through my gut and instinctual feelings.
That's the thing, though,
I
right?
say Bitcoin go up.
I think it really is just about common sense, which probably isn't that common anymore. And this guy just happens to have a little bit of that, and also happens to be the Grand Master Memory Holder. What was his title? That was honestly that was crazier than Master of Memory.
Grand Master of Memory.
Grand Master of Memory. You know, he's not gonna forget. He's not gonna forget how much groceries were last year compared to this year, and that's why he's like, "Damn, something has to change." Oh.
Was that us or was that Asanoha? Oh, it's Asanoha. Asanoha's house is catching on fire. I thought that was us.
Because I was
Sophie's
speaking too many facts.
Actually, I do want to read this comment right here. Super Cycle Steve B goes, I have a very high IQ, but I won't have it tested. I like to live a quiet life. I'm on the opposite side. I jokingly say I have a low IQ, but I'm genuinely afraid of getting my IQ tested because maybe it is actually that low. So, hey, I'm on the opposite side of this, Schrodinger's IQ here. I like to believe I have a higher IQ than I probably do, but I just commit to the bit 42 IQ, which I learned is the average IQ for the lowest country in the world here. So I somehow picked that number out of thin air. And it's literally like the lowest IQs possible.
Lowest recorded in human history.
Dude, idiot savant over here. Idiot savant here. Okay, it looks like Asanoha is back. Hopefully we're back.
Sorry, we had a smoke alarm.
No worries. All right, guys. We're going to talk about Bitcoin Art Magazine. Yeah, I thought it was over here. But anyways, we'll be right back in 1 second, guys. And we will chat with Asanoha about his latest project. See you in a second.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, bitcoinben.io. If you're into freedom, Bitcoin, and building a real community, this is for you. Gain exclusive access to real-world, members-only, private clubs across the globe, featuring poker nights, expert-led classes, co-working spaces, educational meetups, live events, and more. Current locations include Sarasota, Nashville, Boston, Dallas, Las Vegas, and St. Louis, with new clubs launching soon in West Palm Beach, Scottsdale, Alabama, and beyond. Not to mention Bitcoin Ben's resorts in El Salvador. There's 3 of them, and they're absolutely beautiful. You'll also get access to the first fully backed Bitcoin bank with fiat ramps and savings accounts. It's called Private Key Bank, and you guessed it, it's based out of El Salvador. Go peer-to-peer with Bitcoin bulk buys, tap into home equity for long-term Bitcoin growth, and join their exclusive mining pools if you're interested in mining. What are you waiting for? Head over to bitcoinben.io, join today, where Bitcoin meets freedom.
All right, Asanoha. Good to have you back, man. Let's talk about your latest project, man. I think everyone here at Simply Bitcoin that's been around knows of you. we obviously had the collab with one of our original merch launches. I'm sure they've seen you at the conferences. They've seen your work out there. But what is this latest venture?
Yeah, thank you guys for letting me come up here and hang out with you, and shout out my new project here. So there was no art magazine in Bitcoin, at least not one that was being released on any periodical time frame. There had been a few gallery catalogs made for some of the big art galleries, and there's been, I think, some one-offs here and there. Now, as everybody knows, there's a lot of really great and amazing art in Bitcoin. A lot of beautiful, like, oil paintings, hand-painted physical art. And there's, shout out to Scarcity and to the Bitcoin conference for hosting a really large gallery of physical Bitcoin art, and Scarcity for running auctions. And there's a few other really cool, projects that are promoting and providing a platform for Bitcoin artwork, but there was no magazine. And so I decided to make a magazine, and I've got over 100 artists. Currently, we've got about enough content for 3 or 4 issues, and we've got currently our official pre-sale is live at bitcoinartmagazine.com for the Genesis edition of Bitcoin Art Magazine. And so we're doing a base edition magazine, and then we have some limited edition gold foil cover parallel magazine and a limited edition hardcover book. But our base magazines are $84 a year for a subscription. That's $21 a magazine plus shipping, or you can buy a one-off issue for $33. These are going to be like super high quality, just beautiful, high quality print. We've got over 150 pages of high signal curated content in the Genesis edition. The cover art is by Fractal Encrypt. We've got forewords from Knut Svanholm and Daniel Prince. We have over 50 full pages of artwork from 36 of the best artists in Bitcoin. Minimal ads in the magazine, 0 ads in the hardcover book, and like I said, high quality print. So if you love Bitcoin and you love art, head on over to bitcoinartmagazine.com, pre-order a magazine, your copy of the Genesis edition, and or just go give us a follow on Twitter or Nostr. Our socials are on our website. So at bitcoinartmagazine.com, you give us a follow on Twitter, and we're doing our daily artist features, and just trying to highlight all of the great and amazing art that's being made in Bitcoin. I saw somebody in the comments, there are no NFTs in the Bitcoin.
Dude, they're physical NFTs, bro. They're real NFTs.
There's no NFTs in the magazine. We're not featuring any NFTs. We are only featuring physical Bitcoin artwork. So yeah, follow us on Nostr, follow us on Twitter, and appreciate you.
Love it, dude. I'm just wondering, what are some of the artists that are going to be featured in the Genesis edition?
Yeah, so we've got, as you guys can imagine, we got Fractal Encrypt's full note on the cover, so we have a nice big feature on Fractal Encrypt. And then we've got Chief Monkey, Madex, Brekivon, Bitcoin, Mir1, Bitcoin Apex, Pepe Nardo, Rare Skrilla, Alex Schaefer, Bitco Yanowski, Yonat Vox, Cypherpunk Now, Adam Cadman, Kanuto Takumi. We've got Bitcoin trading cards in there. I, of course, had a feature myself. And we got Zitra and Ryer. We have a bunch of really awesome artists, as long as some new up and coming super cool artists that just kind of entered the scene. So it's super exciting. But I'm sure if you've been in Bitcoin for a little while and you've been to any of the conferences, or you have followed any of the Bitcoin artists, I'm sure you'll be recognizing some of the artists that we will be featuring in the magazine.
Yeah, I definitely recognize some of the names. A few I haven't heard of, so it's going to be very interesting to see what you guys put up. Though my second question, someone said something. Are these all physical or digital pieces? So is it like a coffee book table of like digital prints, or are there also like pictures of physical art that people painted?
They're pictures, so it's all photographs of artwork that people, but these are high resolution photographs for the most part. So, but yeah, it's like a magazine with a full page that is of you know, printed on the paper. It's like a real physical magazine you hold in your hands, and the artwork is printed on the paper. That artwork that is a photograph of a painting that somebody painted, as an example. So
Are people able to purchase the art directly from the magazine? Like, is there a way that, you know, if I'm looking through it, I say, damn, this art piece is just like, I have to have it. Is there a way for me to buy it directly from the magazine through a QR code? Or like, what's the process of getting in touch with the artist like?
yeah, no, that's a great question. So, you know, possibly something along those lines, potentially in the future. As of right now, we're just going for more of a high-end art journal. So, you know, every article or artist feature in the magazine will have the artist's website. And we do encourage you, if you see a piece of art that you really like, to go to the artist's website, see if it's available, and or commission them to maybe make you something similar. So we're doing minimal QR codes overall for now, and just websites at the bottom of each artist feature.
Love it. Love it. Okay. And you said pre-order. So when, here, I'll pull up the site real quick. If people pre-order today, when can people expect a magazine at their door?
If people pre-order today, I'm like currently hopefully we're going to the printers this week. So hopefully it's sooner than 3 to 5 weeks, which is what I'm telling you right now. And we've got on our website for the magazine, expected to ship in 3 to 5 weeks. And on the hardcover books, we've got, I believe it is 4 to 8 weeks on the patrons edition, and both on the we've got a limited edition of 121 hardcover book, and then we have a patrons edition gold foil cover nesting box super fancy limited edition of 121. Both of those are going to be 4 to 8 weeks, but the magazine and the gold foil magazine should be 3 to 5 weeks. I'm hoping for a month out from now. So
got it. And
hold me to that. I'm working. Let's make a magazine. He said, you know, it's all turned out to be a lot bigger of a project than I had expected. It's a physical NFT magazine. That is not accurate. You do not understand. you need to. It's funny. Well, somebody asked me on Twitter the other day, but Down Under Blues, do you know what an NFT is? So there's a
no, hey, Asanoha, it's a troll.
You can start. You know, you can say that anything that isn't Bitcoin is a shitcoin, right? And that you only need bare essential food, air, and water, and so forth. So,
no, I think
it is a physical. In a sense, it is, I guess, a physical NFT. I don't know. That doesn't entirely.
Yeah, it's a troll. I think it's something that I would say on the show when we bring artists on, because once NFTs like became all the rage, so it's kind of a rage. He's kind of rage baiting you right now, where it's like, oh wait, you make art, like physical art? Oh, so it's a physical NFT, because it's like flipping the whole, you know, NFT is just digital art, and you're like, no, like real art is just a physical NFT. Like what are we talking about?
You know, I resent NFTs for that, because NFTs are like barely art. They're barely art.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing: is that like we don't get into it right now, because I said we weren't going to get into anything contentious. But like, I can give you the whole breakdown. Like, I've been making Bitcoin. I could have minted sub 10K ordinals. You know, I've been there for a bunch of not a lot. I'm not an OG, but a good amount of Bitcoin art, and so like I have we'll get into it another time. Like, what is an NFT? You know, and so it as a physical Bitcoin artist who doesn't make NFTs, no, I know you're just trying to be funny, but I mean, you got to understand, there's not a lot of representation for physical Bitcoin artwork, and that's physical Bitcoin and Bitcoin adjacent artwork, right? So it is like the art of the revolution, and in a lot of ways, it's
actually the ultimate marketing, because
it's the ultimate marketing.
Without art surrounding an important issue in the world, you have no one to like actually care about it emotionally. And so you guys are making the culture, and you should be very, very proud of that.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that exact last thing. Like, a obviously I love Bitcoin art, but at first I didn't really grasp kind of the significance of Bitcoin art until we started really kind of diving into the culture and kind of the dynamics between culture and how society shifts. And I would argue that Bitcoin artists are on the leading edge of trying to shift that culture of literally, you know, making really cool stuff that gets people, I don't know, incentivized or maybe more motivated and inspired to understand what Bitcoin is. It's like, this is how we shift the art is literally, or sorry, shift the culture is by literally creating really cool art. And that I think extends more than just, you know, painting art or, you know, making music or, you know, movies and all this stuff. Like all of that is, in my opinion, kind of the collective art that Bitcoiners need to make, is just continuing to make art in various ways that is just really cool, that stands alone by itself, but is created by Bitcoiners. And like you've been doing various ways to kind of monetize it, you know, do peer-to-peer markets, etc. And really just like, as we were saying earlier, the marketing team, get this out in front of as many people as possible. And then they realize like, oh wait, like this is a cool piece of art. And if Nico was here, he loves art. Like there's literally all kinds of Bitcoin art at his house. He absolutely loves art. He's probably one. I'm not going to say he's probably one of the biggest patrons of the arts here, but he loves art. He always jokes. He's like, dude, I spend probably most of my money on just Bitcoin art, and I can confirm that. I think
that there's a lot of people that are not that. There's a lot of people in the world that might only get into Bitcoin through art, you know, and that it's subliminal, I think, in a lot of ways. You know, there's like Street Cyber is just, you know, he's doing kind of a Bitcoin Banksy style artwork. Nate Sandoval, I saw you said Bitcoin Banksy there, but I mean, you know, people going out and painting the Bitcoin B even on stuff. It just in the streets of the world is subliminally one of the most important things. It's kind of like, if you guys seen when they're projecting the Bitcoin logo on like the bank of, you know, the European bank, central bank, or doing a drone show in the sky. And I mean that, you know, that propaganda is super powerful and has been historically, if you look throughout history of any sort of movement. You know, wheat paste posters and so forth. So yeah, but yeah, I'm super not. I don't do NFTs. I know we're not featuring NFTs. So you know, it's physical art, physical Bitcoin fine art, and which is our focus. And then we will be, you know, highlighting and going into some more of the street art and music and so forth and other artistic forms around Bitcoin. But basically it's an art and culture magazine for you know, for the super left side of the bell curve orange coin good plebs who want to look at pretty pictures, you know. And
I like pretty pictures. But no, also no, you said one of my favorite words, propaganda, and I'm huge on this idea. Nika gets mad at me all the time. It's like, no, we're not Bitcoin propaganda, dude. We're an edutainment channel. I'm like, bro, it's all propaganda. Everything is propaganda, and we need more Bitcoin propaganda so more people understand why we do what we do. And I've been kind of leaning into it even further. I'm like, I'm not even here to debate about it anymore. I'm just here to spread the Bitcoin propaganda and hopefully, you know, like incept you into believing what we do and why we're right. And I think as the price continues to go up and more people adopt Bitcoin, it's just going to be that much easier to do what we do here at Simply Bitcoin and what you guys are trying to do and what everyone else tries to do. I think it's going to catch on very fast because of every one of our efforts. But also, I do have one more question before we wrap up. If there's potentially an artist in the audience, can they submit art? How do you choose the artist to be a part of these magazines?
I started with kind of just an open call, and then I got like a lot of artists really fast. So I've kind of tightened curation down a little bit. And so open submissions are currently closed. At some point, we will open up like public call submissions. But if you are an artist in the chat or who's listening to this on any platform, you can send me a DM on Twitter or on Nostr. And I'm happy to chat with you and see what you got, you know. So And so, yeah, we've got a couple parameters. We're still working out exactly what they are of what it takes to be included in the magazine as an artist, or as a artist feature. But we are doing articles on all kinds of art and artistic things. So send me a DM if you're an artist in the chat here, and maybe we'll try to get you in a future issue here.
All right, guys. So what I heard for you Bitcoin artists out there is you got to make something that Asanoha likes. So pro tip, use a lot of gold, and it's going in the next magazine. No, I'm joking. Don't steal Asanoha's thing. Don't bite his stuff.
Make something dope that means something and that pushes forward the Bitcoin revolution.
Let's go. All right. Well, there is some artists in the chat. So you said you have what, 2 to 3 magazines already full, so that I think that's going to give you guys what, about 2-ish quarters to work on a piece, and then ship it, or rather not ship it, sorry, send it to Asanoha, and he will potentially get it into the next one, so, or the third or fourth one.
Take high resolution photographs of your work if you are an artist in the chat right now.
Let's go. All right, man. Well, Asanoha, thanks for coming on. Last time, will you plug your socials for people if they want to get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Twitter at Asanoha_gold. And you can find me on Nostr at primal.net/Asanoha. And you can copy my NPub from there. And then the bitcoinartmagazine.com has our Twitter and our Nostr on there, which is Twitter would be at Bitcoin Art Mag, and Nostr is primal.net/Bitcoin Art Magazine. And we also have a super vibrant Telegram chat of almost, I think, over 400 members now. Telegram chat that's just general, come hop in, say hi. We got a lot of artists inside of there, and you can find that link on our website at bitcoinartmagazine.com.
Let's go. Well, Asanoha, thanks for coming on today. Of course, guys, this was, I don't even know what the episode number, 1143, I think. No, 1343. Wow. Episode 1343. This is Tuesday, September 30th. Guys, let's hope we can put September behind us and commence October, guys. I will be here with you guys.
It wasn't even that bad.
Yeah, actually, it wasn't. It's like we're at like 3%.
We're so spoiled.
3% on the month. It's okay. It's okay. It's not bad performing September. But hey, Q4 literally starts tomorrow. And let's hope and let's meme it into reality. It is about to pump, boys and girls. So I hope you're stacking sats. I hope you take that Bitcoin off the exchanges. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow at the same time as always, roughly 12:30 p.m. Roughly 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. Nico should be back tomorrow. I'll see you guys. This has been the wonderful, the beautiful, the incredibly talented Internet Sophie, of course, Asanoha, Bitcoin artist, and the lowest IQ record holder, Opti, here as the host. We'll be back tomorrow. Peace out, guys. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.